Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I want to explore the psychology of how older men actually have the dating advantage. Okay. And older, we can estimate for this particular video, let's just say 35 and above, 40 and above, something around there, whereas perhaps the women she might be in her 20s. Okay. And the dating advantage that older men have in the dating pool is actually very significant. And there is quite a lot of psychology behind it, evolutionary psychology and social psychology, particularly. But in general, this is something I think is important. Actually, the very first one is a perception. It's that you are perceived to be more emotionally mature, likely because you are. But this is actually comparative. And I think a lot of people don't recognize this. Interesting enough, you are probably more emotionally mature than when you were in your 20s. Now, she is obviously, let's just say she's in her 20s and you're in your 30s, 40s, whatever your age is, right? She is maybe in school with people her age, and she can automatically see the difference between you and maybe her peers. You can't see that because you have slowly grown up as you. You don't remember exactly who you used to be, but you were, right? Hopefully, as if you are a natural, healthy, developing person, likely you're more emotionally mature. And she can see that. And that can be very attractive because in her mind, it signifies as safety. Women perceive safety and attraction very closely. And you being emotionally mature, you might think this will create an issue with the dynamic. You might think that maybe she thinks you're too old. A lot of men feel this way. They feel like they are too old and that they're not going to be able to be perceived as just, a regular, happy, or healthy guy. You're going to think that your age is going to be a barrier in that connection. That's not true. Your age is actually the leverage that you have because you're more emotionally mature. If you're looking for more exclusive content from me that might be a little bit more controversial or will touch on maybe expansive topics, we do have a group for that. We do so many other things in that as well, but I do post videos that are a little more exclusive on there. And that is our group that's pinned in the comments. And if you'd like to join, it is $10 a month. The next one is that she can learn something from you. This is the point where a lot of this comes from like the biological perspective and evolutionary psychology. I'm going to explain something, okay? So, many many years ago, right? Many years ago, but from many different cultures, women kind of integrated within the male's family, okay? This is just history, okay? And normally when she integrated in the male's family, she learned things, okay? And these things are helpful, they can be beneficial. And she might have to learn other things prior to this. But normally, what happens is she's learning this skill set, not just for herself, but also for her potential family. And when she's learning these things, okay, she's learning perhaps long time ago, she might learn the skills that she needs in his family or his home or whatever it is. And then in return and in exchange, she gets protection from him and his family or his situation or his tribe. So let's just give a straightforward example that can hopefully make sense. Let's say he is like a high achieving member in this community, this group, okay? And she's young, but she's married to him. Let's say she's in her 20s. We're just going to pick ages for our current time. The ages would be different, right? And maybe he's in his 30s or 40s, okay? She doesn't have much knowledge of the world, but she is learning things from him and she's able to emotionally connect with him through learning and connection. But also, in exchange for the things that she learns from him, she's able to gain protection from his assets, from what he has. If he's a higher ranking member in that community, maybe he has more medical attention than other people, right? If the supplies were very low, maybe more food supply, things of that sort. He's more prioritized and she might feel that way. And so often the exchange between her learning and adjusting and getting safety is something that's very rooted into our psychology. It's something that's happened a lot. It's common. It's not as common anymore, but it's something that we as humans have done for many years. And it's still the way a lot of us internally operate. So I hope that made some sense. It's also a lot of attraction as well, because she feels like she can learn and that she can almost shortcut the pain that you had to go through learning those things. It just makes her life easier. And women, do like when things are a little bit easier for them. And I think men do like to teach as well. I think it works both ways. And in exchange, she likely will be more peaceful, more kind, companionship, etc. That's usually the exchange that we see, okay? The next one is that you might have more experience in real life than her. You do, right? You're older, real world application than her. And that makes her feel like she's able to gain some of that experience without having to go through this herself. Really similar to the point that we just touched on, but let's expand upon it, okay? You probably did experience a lot of stuff, like a lot of pain, a lot of things you've been through. Perhaps you have your own business and you've been running that for years. Pretty unlikely that a 20-year-old has been running a business for like 20 years, okay? But a 40-year-old, and maybe he's had a business, he started when he was 20, maybe, right? He learned, he had a learning curve, but he's not the same guy he was when he was in his 20s or when he was literally 20. He learned so many things. And it's not that this girl is going to run a business, but what did you learn while running that business? As an example, you learned how to regulate yourself. You learned different communication styles, okay? You learned how other people operate. You learned who to hire and who to not hire. You learned really specific things. Anything. You learned about specific taxes. You've learned tax breaks, whatever it may be. All of these things, somehow these traits, even though they might seem insignificant, might actually have some significance to the relationship you have with her. For whatever reason, she might need that information, not specifically, but the things that you learn. Maybe she's having a really bad day at work and she's saying, I feel really bad that my boss said this to me. And because of your very extensive experience, you might say, I know people like that. I had an employee like that. Typically, they have this type of personality. Maybe you can try saying it like this, and you might have better luck with her. You might have better communication with her, might a better result. She would have to go through all the growing pain that you went through to learn that, but she didn't. She got that shortcut. And a lot of people, just in general, both man and woman, like things handed to them a little easier. And so because you have that huge knowledge base in comparison to her very small knowledge base, she kind of shortcutted and jumped through all the things that she could have had to go through to get there, right? She learned your wise experience through you, okay? The next one is you're likely more financially established than she is. You have your own job. Perhaps you do have a business. Maybe you've been working for the same company. You have a lot of knowledge. You know what you're doing, and you have more financial backbone. Like you might have more savings. You might have more in your Roth. You might have more assets. And this can be attractive. I think most people understand that. But it also really does signify that likely you're not somebody who is, if she were to get married to you or have a baby with you, that you will likely run out of assets for her and her children. So I'm going to give an example. And this is not like against men who are in their 20s. So please don't think that way. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying from a perspective that could apply, okay? If there is a gentleman and he's in his 20s, okay? And she's also in her 20s and he's building his career. She doesn't know how stable that is quite yet. She doesn't know if he's going to get fired tomorrow. She doesn't know if he's never going to buy a house. She doesn't know if her and her potential offspring with him is safe. She doesn't know. But with you, there's a track record. You're older. There's proof that you've had this job for a certain amount of time. You've been paying taxes for a certain amount of time. And that is very appealing to women, okay? The next one is you're likely more financially literate than her and her peers. You understand certain things that she might be struggling with. These things are pretty challenging, especially, I don't know where you're from, but where I am is the United States. And we don't learn these things in school. We did not learn financial literacy in school, not much. And so financial literacy is very frustrating. As soon as you get 18, you have to know all these things. You have to pay taxes. You're not sure what to do. Credit cards. All of these things can be incredibly confusing, right? And you know that, and she doesn't have to, ask ChatGPT how to do this. She can ask you, and it's a lot more reliable and it's more helpful because you have done it. You're a human and you know what to do, and you're really aware of the outcome because you've done it. And so it just makes it easier and so much safer for her. It's very comforting as a woman to feel like you don't have to always experience those challenging anybody, right? But I think most men actually enjoy challenge. Typically, it is because of testosterone. Like, that is true. They like that challenge much more than women do. Women don't always like that resistant path. Men tend to enjoy that to some extent biologically. And so you are able to take that resistant path and then teach her and make her path a little bit more smoother and easier. It's almost like you walk through that path and got rid of all the weeds, and then she can walk through easily. but you're still going on the same path and she's right behind you, okay? The next one is many women perceive older men as more commitment forward or more able to be committed to biological reasons, but just in general, some men, a lot of men, they're not ready to commit in their early, stage of their life because, well, maybe he is building his career. Maybe that's what you were doing when you were in your 20s. Maybe you weren't ready for a relationship quite yet because you were busy going to school, building a career, building your business, whatever you were doing. And maybe a lot of men at her age are doing the same thing, but you've already done all that. So now you might be more ready to settle down. And for her, if she wants a baby, it's going to be a lot easier for her to have it early, right, in her 20s. And that's very a good opportunity for her. She can have a baby and get married to somebody who's commitment forward and has the assets and emotional ability to actually commit to her. It's incredibly appealing. And the last one is that many women actually feel safer with older men because there is a distinct difference with how you carry yourself and operate compared to her peers. This is probably not something you will notice, but it is the way you talk. It's the way you manage yourself. It's the schedule you have. It's the way you treat yourself. It's the way your exercise routine, anything. It's very distinct compared to people who are just figuring it out, her and her peers, right? And she's able to feel safe knowing that you have it figured out. So I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.